We are back with Path to Pro, a basketball fix series where we look at the Next Stars program and all the young talent in the NBL that is draft eligible or becoming draft eligible, as we have a guy that is draft eligible next season. Now, on today's episode, I want to look at the ESPN mock draft, or the list, the top 100 players for next season's draft, because there have been some updates there which I think are interesting to look at. And we're also going to look at Karim Lopez from the New Zealand Breakers, a Mexican national that is not draft eligible this season, but in 2026, and he's over in the US right now with the Breakers on their NBA preseason trip and doing some great things. Let's dive into him a little bit more in this episode. But let's get things kicked off with the ESPN draft prospects list. Now, for those of you that are watching here on YouTube, I'm going to bring up the list here that the Next Stars shared on their Instagram with 6 players from the NBL listed. For those of you that are just listening on the podcast, I'll try and explain it as best as possible. Now, the 2025 NBA draft, we all know Cooper Flagg is the top pick in this draft. He will go number 1. There's no dispute about that. But then it's kind of open slather. And especially for our guys that maybe feature a little bit further down the list, there is a lot of opportunity to move around in this draft, as we have seen already over the past couple of months. Now, Rocco Zikarsky sits still at the top of the list of NBL players that are draft eligible. He's at 24 in the most recent top 100 list from ESPN. Now, Rocco Zikarsky for the Brisbane Bullets has not been seeing a lot of game time over the past 2 seasons, or season and a little bit. But I'm pretty confident that he and his manager will have had thorough discussions with the Brisbane Bullets, and they know what NBA scouts and what NBA teams will want to see from him this season. And I have no doubt that they will achieve that as a team throughout the season. It is still only round 4, coming into round 4. There's a lot of time still for Rocco to make an impact in the league. But at the same time, considering he hasn't really done much so far this season, I think this ranking is more to do with his ceiling rather than what he can produce on the floor right now for an NBA team. He's at number 24. Then we have Alex Toohey coming in at 35. And now he has made some massive changes in this list. He was at number 57 not too long ago and had a fantastic preseason for the Sydney Kings and has started all games this season so far for them in the regular season. Has been putting up fantastic numbers and is really improving his draft stocks for this upcoming draft. Now, he is a guy that he has a very good basketball IQ. He's rangy. He can defend quite well. Has maybe a little bit of a tendency to have a turnover or two, but still very young. And I think his opportunities and the possibilities surrounding him are at this point quite endless. So I think his draft stocks will continue to improve as the season rolls on. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a top 20 pick come the summer, the American summer in 2025. Next up on the list, we have Izan Almansa for the Perth Wildcats. He's ranked at number 51. Now, Izan is playing some solid minutes for the Perth Wildcats. The team itself hasn't been fantastic to start the season. I'm recording this on Thursday, and the Wildcats have just won their round 4 game in a tight battle. They almost allowed Cairns to come back at the end, but they sealed the deal. And I think watching the Perth Wildcats so far this season, Izan Almansa has contributed. He's done well. His numbers aren't setting, the stat sheet alight. His percentages are, not extremely good, but if you watch the games, you can see that he is contributing, especially on the defensive end. And with his size, he's a perfect fit for this Perth Wildcats team with Pinder, with Doolittle, and the outside guys that they have on this team. So I think Izan, if he continues playing the way he is, his offense will come. He'll get a bit more opportunity as the season rolls on. And I'm sure that John Wheeler will find spots for him to showcase his talent on the offensive side. But on the defensive side, he's doing a very good job. And he is a threat or a not a threat on the defensive end, but what do you call it? He's making the opposition think twice when they're trying to attack the rim. He's there. Next up on this ESPN 100 list, it's Ben Henschel, also from the Perth Wildcats. Now, Ben isn't a next star, so I don't have a lot of background on Ben, but he's at number 57. And from watching the games, he's a sharpshooter from the perimeter, a guy, a kind of two-way guy that can get up and down 3 and D. And I think, if he's in this conversation at this point of the season, Perth aren't going to get worse, and Henschel's going to get minutes and he's going to get opportunity. I think he will no doubt improve his stocks. I think he'll probably be in that range from about 45 to 65 in the top 100 here. And who knows, he might end up in the draft, or he might end up on a two-way or a 10-day at Summer League to try and prove his worth to an NBA team. Malique Lewis is the next star on the list. He's ranked at number 76. Now, Malique's, I think he's a little bit difficult to put here because he is not the kind of guy that is, in all the highlight clips, setting the media world on fire. He's a guy that gets in, does his work, is a contributor, and the kind of guy that is lifting the team. His athleticism is, I think, probably the best out of any of the players on this list. He runs and runs and runs and jumps and runs and runs and runs and jumps. He gives 100% to every single play that he's involved in on the court. And at this age, I think that's what you have to try and build on. Now, I've seen a video earlier today from Carmelo Anthony that spoke about Malique Lewis and that he has to own his skill set as a two-way player. Get in there, be dirty in defense, rumble and tumble for the ball, and the offense will come. Now, Malique has a very good skill set. I think he could be an important rotation guy for an NBA team if he can crack it. And these younger cores need the athleticism, they need the up and down on the court and lift the whole team. Malique Lewis is a perfect example of that type of player. So he's sitting at number 76, and the last person on this list is Lockie Ulbrich at number 86 from the Illawarra Hawks. Now, Lockie is a big guy who he's playing in a team of big guys. So around him, you've got Sam Froling, you've got Darius Days, and Illawarra are doing very well at the moment. They were 3-1 on the season and are dominating with points and in the paint. And that is partly thanks to Lockie Ulbrich and his size and his ability to use the ball under the rim and play in that style of play. What I've seen from Lockie, though, is I think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive in his play and stamp his mark on the game. And I understand that as a young player and you have Froling, you have Days around you, that it's maybe difficult to find your place. And that's totally fine. There are roles and opportunities for him in this team throughout this season where he will be able to say, okay, this is my turn to take the ball here or to dominate in this spot. And I think Lockie has the skill set to do that. He just needs to show a little bit more aggression and rein in the fouls. So I seen a game, maybe it was last week, where he was put in to defend and drew a foul or committed a foul straight away, and he was pulled back out again. And it was a crunch time game, and Tatum just couldn't handle that type of play at that time. So Lockie's a young guy, a great talent, a very high ceiling, I believe, as well with his body and his skill set. And if he can just hone his skills a little bit more, I think he will definitely have an opportunity, probably at Summer League next year, to impress an NBA team. So that's the ESPN 100 list so far, which I think it's exciting having these guys show up so high on the list of the 2025 draft. We're going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to dive in a little bit more to Karim Lopez and what he is about and some of the stuff that he's been producing over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so we're back to on Path to Pro, the Next Stars podcast from the Basketball Fix. My name is Ryan, if you missed it at the start, and I've just spoken about the ESPN 100 list. Now, one of the names we haven't seen on that ESPN list is Karim Lopez, and that is because he's draft eligible in 2026. Karim is, I think, he born '07, and just a fantastic kind of talent coming out of Mexico. Had played a little bit in Spain before coming to the NBL as a next star with the New Zealand Breakers, and has done a fantastic job so far. 2 games in the NBL together with the preseason, and now they are in the US, the Breakers, playing in the NBA preseason. And I'm going to bring up some clips in just a second here with Karim, and partly from his time on the Mexican team with the qualifiers, Olympic qualifiers, then also as he's been playing with the Breakers in this NBA preseason. But before I get into that, I just want to speak a little bit about Karim and his achievements and challenges. So he's a 205 centimeter, as I said, 17 years old, 98 kilos, 215 centimeter wingspan, and probably still growing into this body and the frame of his. So you would expect him maybe over the next year or two to fill out that frame, put on a bit more weight, but keep the athleticism as a young guy. Now he's moved over to New Zealand at the start of this season to be part of this Next Stars program, and as a 17-year-old kid, you think, okay, well, a 17-year-old moving anywhere not even just moving to the next street away from their family and friends is a big deal. But Karim has moved to a country where they don't speak his first language, has no family and no friends, and this must be a very tough move for him. Now, it's not the first time he's done it, okay? So he's been playing in Spain with Juventus. I'm going to find the name here. I can't read it on Juventus Badalona, and now has made the trip to New Zealand for the NBL. And I just think, the challenges associated with that move and what it would have taken, the discussions around, okay, how will New Zealand support him not only on the court but off the court, and just the general problems that come with being a 17-year-old kid or an 18-year-old kid, no matter where you live in the world. But I think he's landed in a great spot. The New Zealand Breakers are a franchise that have been there before with RJ Hampton. They have an international coach, so there are a lot of role models or past kind of experiences within this club that would suit Karim and help him in his way and against these challenges that he faces as a young guy in this spot, in this situation that he's in. But, all props to him for taking a bet on himself, moving to Australia to improve his chances at going higher in this 2026 draft. And as I said, the 2026 draft, he's currently ranked number 9. If you look at the rankings on draftroom.com, he's the number 1 international prospect. So he's out of Mexico, and he's the number 1 international prospect in the 2026 draft at the moment. It's already loaded with this kind of hybrid guard, small forward kind of player that can, get the ball up in transition, can spot up from 3 or attack the rim and play defense, which is what Karim is. So he is battling against a lot of players with a similar skill set to what he has, but they are playing in college and he's playing in the NBL. So I think his development will probably progress a little bit better over the next kind of year and a half, 2 years, and it'll hopefully be very positive for him when it comes to draft day. Before we look at the clips, I just want to talk about his impact on the team and the league. And I think maybe this season is probably going to be a little bit understated because of his age and because of him being a 2-year project, so to speak, with all the other Next Stars draft eligible in 2025. It will be a lot more focused on them compared to Karim. But I think this could be good for him. Well, it could work in 2 ways. It will give him the opportunity and the time to develop at his pace and within the system that New Zealand have there. And it'll give him a couple of years to work with the Next Stars program and GM and Liam Santamaria, as well as the guys that are in the US with, Carmelo and all the coaches and offerings available to him as being part of this program. He'll have that opportunity, like maybe we're seeing with Alex Toohey or Rocco Zikarsky, that have improved now in their second year as a next star. What I hope it doesn't do is that it makes us kind of aware, or not aware, but that we get used to him being part of this team and contributing so well that we think, okay, well, that's what he should be doing. But and forgetting that he's a 17 or 18-year-old guy that is trying to get into the NBA. I hope, and I don't think we will go there. I think he's a people will see him and say, wow, this guy is a talent. He's still so young and a lot to learn. I don't think we're going to see any complacency around him. Okay, so let's get into the play style of Karim Lopez. And as I said, I've found some footage that I want to share with everybody here. And like I said, I will try and explain it as I go for those of you that are just listening. Now, this first video is the Olympic qualifiers in Puerto Rico early this year, playing against the Ivory Coast. And, Karim is a fantastic talent in these qualifiers. We just seen a clip there where he drove from the wing straight at the basket, and seeing him attack the basket with his size and his length. And, he's coming up against guys that are men, they're big, but he's just making his way. He knows methodically how to get to the basket. He's not a very quick guy, but he's very consequential with his steps. He knows where to get to make his move and to get to the basket. And then we start looking at his shot, and I think he reminds me a little bit of Josh Giddey, just the way he looks so easy, that the way he takes his shot. We're looking at a game with Mexico against Argentina. He gets the ball in the corner for an open corner three. As easy as you like, swishes it in. Another Olympic qualifier at the top of the key, straight in, no worries. Just a very easy over-the-head shot, and this looks like it's not a problem for him. Now we get to transition, and it was funny when I seen this first clip. So it's he's getting the ball. I don't know what league this is. It might be in the Spanish league, or it might also be against Argentina here. So his team gets the rebound under the basket, an outlet pass, which he gets about half court. And then he takes one dribble, one bounce for a layup. And just to see his kind of IQ working here, okay, I'm getting the ball, where are the other players, where do I have to get to be able to score this ball? I think he just shows the skills that he has already at such a young age, coming up against routine, experienced players. We'll let the clip play out. Has that long range, can get up above and put the ball out. Again, here takes the dribble from under the basket in his own end, straight up under against an Argentinian to score. Now we're moving on to the clips here from the NBA preseason against the Utah Jazz. And here I want to look at both his defense, his scoring, his IQ. So there's a fair bit to unpack here. So the first clip, we see that Utah, I think it's Jordan Clarkson, puts up a ball from three. Straight away, you see Karim turn and run to the basket to contest the rebound. And there's not a lot of players that do that. Experienced players or young players alike. He just seen the ball, he knows his role on the court, and that's what he did straight away. And with Gillespie fell to the floor because he was pushed under by the Utah player, Karim jumps up, uses his length and athleticism, doesn't get the rebound, but then jumps again to battle and blocks the shot at the rim, gets the ball back, and then again busts us out in transition. He doesn't even look left or right. He knows that he's out on his own. He's just contested a rebound, didn't get it, contested a blocked the shot, took the ball from under the rim, and has dribbled the whole court to then come up against essentially a 2-on-3 or a 3-on-2 or almost a 1-on-3. And as we continue the clip, straight to the basket, finger roll in over the top of the Utah center without a problem. The next clip here gets put in the pick and roll, pushes against the Utah player. It was a bit, I think, maybe uneasy whether he was going to fight around the screen or drop back, but It looked like Donovan Mitchell there. Sorry, the clip's a bit grainy. Decided to attack the rim instead. Karim gets in front here, and this is an NBA player, and this Karim Lopez is 17 years old. Gets in front and makes the shot, or the path, closes down the path essentially. Gets a mitt on the ball and causes the Utah player to have to turn around and chase the ball. He doesn't give up here. He goes back. He sees the opportunity. Oh, wow, he dropped the ball. I might have a steal here. Goes back and gets the steal again, gets possession of the ball, and then gets fouled on the play. So these clips here, I think when we're talking about Karim and his skill set, what I see is a player that can do multiple things. He can shoot from the perimeter, a very, very good shooting style, nice and easy, not rushed. He can attack the basket. He can work up in transition. He's not afraid to have the ball in his hands and make a decision and go at the rim, no matter who's standing in front of him. And this all at such a young age. He has the defensive capabilities. You can see, there's only one clip of him playing defensively there, but you can see it in multiple games and multiple clips if you search on YouTube. He has that ability, the IQ of how to play basketball on the defensive end as well. I think Karim is a fantastic player, and his next 2 years here in the NBL, and especially in the team that he's in, I think his development is going to be out of this world, and I'm really excited to see what will become of Karim Lopez as the Next Star program progresses for him. Well, that brings us to the end of this Path to Pro episode. We looked at the ESPN 100 list for the upcoming 2025 draft. We dove a little bit more into Karim Lopez, his style of play, and what we can expect maybe a little bit more from him as the season rolls on and the break is returned to New Zealand and Australia for the NBL 25 season. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you like what you are seeing and hearing, don't be afraid to send us a comment in the chat here on YouTube, or send us a text through Spotify, wherever you're listening. I would really appreciate it if you could. If you like this, then maybe send it SMS. Pull out your phone now, send an SMS to somebody you know that likes basketball and would appreciate this type of content. That would really help me out and help improve the ratings and the stats on the Basketball Fix podcast network. That's it from me today. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll be back again with another Path to Pro next week.